Well, how's it going? I'm Mark Duffy. Welcome to my channel. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about this, the Zhiyun Weebill 3S. Let's see what I think about this. Full disclosure, Zhiyun did give me this gimbal to keep. It has no impact on what I'm about to say. These are my own opinions, and they've wanted this video done a long time ago, so it's not a case that they get to see it. Don't even know when I'm going to do it. So let's get into this. Let's hear what the pros and the cons are of this gimbal. So last March, when I was at the photography show, I met members of the Zhiyun team, and they wanted me to try this out. With any of these companies that are sending me products out, I do tell them now that I am very slow when it comes to doing reviews, because I used to race to get them done, but then I'm not fully sure on my thoughts of it, their initial thoughts. This, on the other hand, I've been using this since June. So I have extensive experience with this. Even though I'm not a videographer, I have used this on plenties of commercial shoots. So these have been used for paying clients. And here are my thoughts on this. First up is features and design. Really, really, really nice. I'm very impressed with it. It was one of the things that stood out to me at the time. I was just like, the side handle, which we'll get into later, the wrist rest, like just loads, just even just looking at it, it just so much on it. Where do you start? Let's start at the top. So like most gimbals these days, these are fairly handy at this stage to set up. Yeah, it'd take a minute or two to get balanced, but if you're used to doing one, there's no surprises. You know, you have each of your axes to do. If you're, like I said, if you're comfortable with them. So on that one, it's no difference in it. Now, when you go to set up this, the one thing that will stand out to you is, and I've just checked here on their website, there's no indication as to what the max capacity is on it. I do not know what the max load is on it. It's a surprise. Your limitations are going to be the size of the arms. That is going to determine what you can put on this gimbal, because you're just not going to be able to balance it. When I first got my hands on this gimbal, I did try to pair up the Sony a7 IV with the Sony 70-200, and it could hold the weight. I just couldn't get it to sit in a position where it was fully balanced. But I do feel that the motors could have actually handled it. That's the thing. Really powerful motors is what I've noticed on this. If you're enjoying this video, do me a favor, leave a comment and let me know what you think of this setup. It's brand new for me. I got a studio, if you're not aware, if you don't follow me on Instagram, which you should. I got a studio in June, and this is me literally migrating everything to it. I was recording at home, you'd recognize that studio, but I'm kind of changing that at home now. I'm going to put everything here. Let me know in the comments. Do you like this? Is it a little busy? I kind of like the laptop. I have all my details here. Usually I have to try and memorize them, do multiple takes, trying to streamline that because I'm falling behind with my reviews. If I'm totally honest, I'm talking too much. Let's get back talking to this. Leave a comment. Now, there is a function that you can take this plate off, flip it, and then put it back on for vertical shooting. What I did find with this is that, as you can see there, it's a little tight to get on. It really is dependent on your setup on that. Even if you set your deadpan and all the rest in the menus, I did find that when I did shoot it in vertical on one scene, that the balance was kind of gone in all things that I had set up. So I found it was fighting me a little bit. So I don't think I fully set it up properly. I would need a little bit of practice on that. But it is cool that we are starting to see gimbals look at vertical shooting, because it is the bane of all of us having to deal with this. Having gimbals now that can bring that along is a welcome addition. Staying at the top, you will see that there is a fill light at the top, and I've never used it. I don't know if I would. You know, I have the ability to light my scene, so I'm not too sure that I would really be in the scenario where I would need that, but there are a lot of run and gun shooters out there who maybe would take use of that. Moving down further, then the navigation and the use, really nice to use. It's very comfortable in the hand. 3 clicks and it goes into selfie mode. 2 clicks and you got reset. It's fairly standard. Even on the DJI Pocket 3, that has that feature. Then there's a navi ruler here to the front so that you can set for pan or wherever you want on that one. One really cool feature that I noticed on this is that if you are like me and a bit of a dope, there are times that I have lifted the camera straight off. I just like, okay, I'm done with video and I need to shoot some photos, grab the camera and run, and you forget. And normally gimbals, if you lift the camera off, they will go haywire. This goes into automatic sleep mode. Really, really good feature. That's a safe thing. I like that, because when I use gimbals, I don't like using the big plate. What I normally do is I normally stick on my own Arca Swiss plate, and that was it right here, which means I can lift the camera up, on and off as I need to. So if I need to go and shoot some photos, I can, And it means I can double job very easily. So in that scenario, it's very easy to just go, oh, I lift that, and you forget that you've left the gimbal on. The grip on this is a lovely rubber feel. Lovely, lovely feel of the rubber. It's a really comfortable gimbal to hold. Then you've got your charging point here, handy to get to. You do have a USB cable to plug in here for added features like follow focus if you have all those kind of setups. I don't have any of that, so having to plug in the camera wasn't something that I actually really used, but you do have a record button, so you can actually tie into the camera on that one. Again, not a feature that I would use because I'm not a videographer, so it's not really something I would be thinking of wanting to do. It's very easy to press the record button on the camera, so it's not a feature I used, but it is there if you need it. Now, let's get down to the bottom. We have the folding legs standard as normal, but what do we have here? We have this whole section that, if I remind myself, because I haven't taken it off in ages, you've got this lock and a quick release. Now look at that. That is really cool. So there's the gimbal is quite small. If you have one of those motorized sliders that is compatible with this, it's not taking a huge footprint on your slider. You can get some really cool movements if you're doing some product photography or videography in that case. Now, if we look over here at the legs, so the legs are just screwed onto here. So you don't have to, if you don't like this, you can take it off, but it's a really new addition. And it's on a quick release plate, just click straight on to the bottom of the gimbal. You've got a side handle and you've got a wrist rest. But like I say, if you don't like it, you can just take it off the gimbal and just put the legs back on again. No harm, no foul. Then you have standard gimbal, you know. Nah, not for me. I like the new features. I really do like this. It's really cool. Like, look how simple it is. Just, that's it. And away you go. Now, obviously, it's not going to sit right now because I don't have the feet on the bottom, but really, really, really nice new feature. When I saw this at the photography show, I was just like, yes, Ned, I can get on this now. So this is really cool. So you can loosen it and rotate it. So if you want a back handle, so if you want to carry your gimbal like that, really easy, you just loosen it. Or you can have side, which is going to help counteract the up and downs, the part of the movement that the gimbal cannot counteract for, which is, I don't have the ninja crawl or the ninja walk down to a fine art at any point yet, but this does really help. You can also loosen it as a twist lock, so you can make it smaller, you can make it larger. As you see, I actually quite like it at the full height, and it doesn't impact or get in the way of your camera when it's moving around. The wrist, you can just rotate this knob and you can see that it will rotate up depending on where you want it for your wrist, or you can rotate it down as well, depending. And that is really nice. When you have that weight on the camera, having that extra support on your wrist, I'm telling you, for me, that's a game changer. Standout feature for me on the gimbal. So let's get into some specs. I'm not going to try and memorize these specs anymore. I'm going to start using the laptop just to see what it is saying directly on the website. So if we look here on the website, it's saying it's 1 kilogram overall weight with battery life. This is the great thing about this. And especially when I say I lift the camera off as I need to go shoot photos, come back, put it back on again, take it off sleep mode. Running time, it says here, 11.5 hours with a 2-hour charge time. Nothing really to give out about there. Like, to be honest, I've been on shoots and I just left it on for the entire shoot, and you hardly see the battery go down. And even if you did, you know, if you stop for an hour for lunch, that's going to give you a good amount of battery back to you for the rest of the day. So that's really, really good. Is there anything else it is telling me that I don't already know? No, that's really it, actually. Price-wise, it's coming in at €350. And like I say, there's really no weight capacity on this. I'm guessing 4 kilos. Guessing 4 kilos. Depends. It more depends on the length of the lens and camera than the weight. That is the killer, because these arms are short. That's what holds it back. And I think that's the biggest con I have with this. They possibly could have made these arms a little bit longer, but I think that would impact on the crane, because I think the crane takes up the next space in their lineup. For the price and everything it gives you, you're pretty much covered with this gimbal. It is absolutely fantastic. I would love to test out the crane to compare and see what the differences are between the two of these. But I've been really well impressed. I've loved it. I'm not the best gimbal worker. I'm not the best person at using gimbals. Having utilities like this here make your job a lot easier. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend this gimbal. Hope you enjoyed this video, you got something from it. If you did, give it a like, maybe subscribe to the channel and ring that bell to get notified every time I post up a new video. Find me on all the social medias under Mark Duffy Photography. And until the next time, later gators.